Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to another episode of New Music Finds. And after the last few weeks, I had a couple that was a really epic score at 42 and a mega score at 50. I didn't think I would get back to those numbers anytime soon, but here I am with another epic score of 36 items, 32 CDs and 4 LPs. Just happened to hit, the right store at the right time and made some cool mega scores at one of my favorite stores, Jack's Music Shop and Red Bank. I'm going to get into all that and go through it with you guys here in just a bit. But if you are new to my channel and haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. Also leave a comment, hit like. All those things do help support my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. And of course, if you turn on notifications, you'll stay up to date on everything going on here on the channel and certainly on cool videos just like that. This, where we're talking about new music finds, or hopefully I can turn you guys on to something new or at least remind you about something cool that you got in your own collection. Now, we're going to kick off with some new releases here. And in fact, these don't actually come out until next week. So I got these in a little bit early here and want to share them with you so that you're aware of it. New wave of British heavy metal band Tokyo Blade has a brand new album that is coming out. It is called Time is the Fire. 14 studio album and 14 tracks to go along with that. The band itself originally formed in 82, and we still have 4 original guys from that era, from that lineup here. Alan Marsh on vocals, Andy Bolton on guitar, John Wiggins on guitar, and Steve Pierce on drums. But their bass player joined in 84, and so Andy Wrighton is there, and as far as I'm concerned, we've got ourselves the original run heyday guys making this album, which is all much better to be getting something new from them late into their career. It's being put out by Dissonant Records. It's very good stuff. If you like this band from back in the day, do check that out. I do recommend it. Next one is another one that's coming out next week, but I want to make you guys aware of it. Sharks, in this box set, Car Crash Supergroup, the Island Years 73 to 74, 3 CD box set. And the Supergroup, if you're not familiar with them, because I didn't know, they've kind of always run under the radar. I found an LP, their first LP, and flipped it over and was surprised to find out that Andy Fraser of The Free was part of the group. And that's what brought my attention to them, and loved that debut album called First Water, which came out in 73. And that's one of the 2 studio albums that are included here. Jab It in Your Eye from 74 is also here. Plus their 3rd album, which never got properly released at the time, making its first official real release here. And it was produced by John Entwistle. It's simply called the Car Crash Tapes. And then you've also got, the alternate versions, outtakes, and live, and that sort of stuff tacked on as well. So even if you know those albums, you're going to get some cool stuff included in this box set, which again is one of those clamshell style things that we all have really become accustomed to and love. So many great labels are putting these things out, doing it right. Cherry Red Records is another one label that is doing it just right. So we've got that there. And then the rest of this stuff is all stuff that I dug up and found. I'm going to start off with a band I never thought I'd be listening to. Made a video about that topic. And I'm talking about Merciful Fate and then the offshoot of King Diamond. And I've just really been getting into them. And so I've added some more stuff. I added 2 more Merciful Fate albums. I added In the Shadows and then simply Number 9. So their reunion album from, I think this was 93 after their 2 original albums from the 80s. And then their latest album simply called Number 9. I've added both of these in, and so far, everything I've picked up from Merciful Fate, I am just really enjoying, and don't know why it didn't click with me before. A lot of it had to do with the vocals I couldn't get into, the idea that it was all about Satanism and that sort of stuff, and precursor to black metal and all that. But checking it out, certainly grown on me immensely, and I'm glad that I finally have turned the corner on Merciful Fate and King Diamond, and I'm enjoying it. And considering both artists, bands are working on new albums, I've gotten into it at just the right time so that I can, enjoy those when those come out. I also picked up Force of Evil, which is Merciful Fate guys along with King Diamond guys without King Diamond, different singer in there, but them trying their hands at making that style of music. And I just thought it was a cool idea, so I picked this up. Nowhere near as good as Merciful Fate, but still a good, fun listen. And then I picked up 2 additional King Diamond releases, The Eye and Give Me Your Soul Please. Again, both of these, very, very good. They've clicked with me. I'm having a little harder time getting into the constant concept thing that King Diamond does. And there's a lot of tracks that are slow moving and they're context pieces. I get it, but that hasn't clicked with me just yet. So I'm kind of moving around the King Diamond stuff, but I have found some stuff that I like, and these are 2 of the ones that I really like. In fact, I like both of these more than Fatal Portrait, the first one that I picked up. But I picked that up because it was the first release right after Merciful Fate broke up. But now I'm trying to pick ones up that musically click with me. And I gotta say, this one I think, which was 1990, really enjoying. And then this one here, which was a Jack's Record Shop pickup, one of my scores, turned out to be very good as well. But 2 weeks on, and I am still really enjoying that. Another band that I've been filling in the gaps on, and I now actually have, I believe, all but one of their releases, is Death Angel. So I added 2 more releases from the band, The Evil Divide and The Dream Calls for Blood. So these 2 releases here, later date era stuff from the group. This one here is a really fun one, I gotta say. The album cover didn't scream at me or anything like that, kind of the way that this one does. This is very typical Death Angel style album cover. And this one here done by a tattoo artist. And so some notoriety for that aspect of it, but I ended up really liking this one. And it was one of the ones that I'd been steering clear of because the album art didn't speak to me, and then yet it turned out to be such a great release. Lots and lots of cool things like that. And again, continuing on with other artists that I'd recently discovered getting into, one of those bands being Axis, a German power metal band. And I've been filling in, I started with one album purchase from them a few weeks back when I went to Jack's the first time and just fell in love with the group. And I've ordered stuff off of eBay and what Amazon had, and I've now got 9 albums of this group and 1 more on the way. So I'm gonna have 10 very shortly, and I got a lot more stuff out there still to be found. But this one, the 3rd album, The Big Thrill, this one here is a Japanese pressing of that album. I ordered this one off of eBay. I would say their first 3 albums are my favorites so far. Definitely the debut, Kingdom of the Night, and the follow-up, which was simply called 2. I absolutely love those. This one here, Voodoo Vibes, a late 90s era album, does not sound a lot like them. Again, classic case of metal band trying to do the more alternative, grungy sound style stuff. There wasn't anything I could sample on it, so I took a chance and I bought it. And I'm, gonna give it some more listens, but it's not really something that I ended up really liking from them. And then this one here, Paradise in Flames, where the band really goes full on power metal sounding, whereas a lot of their earlier stuff blended hard rock and power metal together, but you get the full metal tastings happening here. And then this one was a good one, Utopia, really liking this. This is where the band, I think, found their foothold and have been ever since. And then talking about Kingdom of the Night, their debut album in '89, 25 years on from that in 2014, the band did Kingdom of the Night 2 and released 2 albums. They did a dark edition and a light edition. I already had that one, which is a white album cover, and this one, which is the dark album cover. This one's supposed to have the harder rock songs and the darker lyrical content, and the other, the lighter and the ballad and that sort of stuff. Don't know which one I'm going to like better yet, although I've had the white or the light album longer and do really enjoy it. This one here, though, is sounding just as good. And so if you do like that first run of the first 3 albums from the band, but you never checked out Kingdom of the Night 2, check out both, or yeah, both of them. Check them both out because they are very much a throwback to that stuff. Okay, as I mentioned, I made a return trip to Jack's after having been there 2+ weeks ago and made huge 33 CD score. There was a lot of stuff I left on the table there and didn't pick up, and I was thinking about it. Some of it was the Access. Two of those albums that I picked up came from there, and I knew that. And as much as I was digging and getting into the band, I thought, and then the stuff was so hard to find, I thought I should return to Jack's and get it at only $2.99 a pop. It's totally worth my time making another 1 hour drive down and back. And I'm glad that I did because I ended up scoring 20 CDs from there. Some of the stuff being this right here, Sergeant Fury. I think this is a German band. And it's a reissue of their 1992, and I think it's the one and only album that they did. I could be wrong, but definitely from the classic. It is a reissue out on the Dive Bomb Records label. Very much down the line between glam and heavy metal. If you're a fan of either of that stuff, right down the middle there, Sergeant Fury, I think, would be something worth checking out. Thunderhead, Killing with Style. This, I think this band started in late 80s, early 90s. I don't think this is the first album of theirs. This is put out, one of the first things that CMC International did, who was a great label that saved a lot of killer hard rock and metal bands in the 90s. And I picked up a Best of the Ballads by the group, liked it, so I was really excited to find that album, and I hope I can find more because that band is proving to be very difficult to dig stuff up. Picked up another Heat album. This is the debut. It is the unremixed edition. If you go online right now, you can only buy the remix of it, which is great. It sounds fantastic. Probably even like that best, but there's nothing wrong with the originals, and I like having those alternate ones. Edguyan EP called Superheroes. 6 tracks on it, 2 versions of the song Superhero. And we've got Tobias Sammet, who most people know better from Avantasia, who also happens to have a brand new album getting ready to come out in February, so keep an eye out for that. But I'm always fleshing out my Ed Guy catalog. And then Swiss band Garded, and I picked up 2 of their releases, and they've got a new album, and back with a new singer, Steve Lee, I think was his name, who had passed away. So they're back and looking forward to that, but it made me think about the band. So added these 2 albums to the collection, and then fleshing out Axel Rudy Pell. This guy's got so many releases, but this one here, The Crest, great release. Johnny Gioli of Hardline singing. Tony Mitchell, we've got Kiss of the Gypsy was the band that he came from. I want to say that might have been like around a 92 era, could be wrong, but put out the 1 album. This guy was the vocalist and later went on to do a number of AOR melodic rock type things, sort of in the vein of Danny Vaughan from Taiketo. If you like that sort of stuff, you'll like Tony Mitchell. Chris Lany, I talked about him having worked with the lead vocalist from Shotgun Messiah. That's where I knew him from, but he was a really great sideman who plays phenomenal guitar and really helped a lot of those bands that he played with continue on in that sort of sleaze metal style. So this one being a solo album from him. And I talked about this band during the What Just Dropped, Hazard, spelled a little differently with the E-R-D. Delirium is the title of this. It's their 2nd studio album, Third Dimension. The 3rd one just dropped on the 24th. And, or no, sorry, it just dropped on the 17th, I guess. Sorry, what was the past week? I'm thinking of the week ahead, but not yet. No, the 17th. So I found that, and that turned out to be very good in the vein of Megadeth. If you like that sounding stuff, you can check that out. Screammaker, a band I knew nothing about. Turns out they have 3 albums. This is on Frontiers Records. Their first album is on Paris Records, which is a much smaller label, but a good home to a lot of great artists. And then Frontiers picked them up for this album, and they have a newer album from 2023, but just some really good straight ahead metal, more in the vein of power metal, probably, if we had to give it a category, but enjoying that. Backyard Babies featuring Dragon, the guitar player from Helicopters. Known about this band for some time, have their album Tinnitus, a compilation. But this one here, latest album, I think I want to say 2017, so it has been a while since they've done anything. But I've recently discovered Helicopters and fell in love with that band, even though I knew about these guys first. Fell in love with the Helicopters and just anything they've done, mostly because of Nikki Alexander, frontman and guitar player for the group. But this stuff here, really good too. And because I've been getting into the Helicopters, I wanted to explore more of the Backyard Babies, a little bit more of the punk side of things than the hard rock leanings that is Helicopters. So I don't know how far I'll go with Backyard Babies, but I love exploring music, and I like to know side projects and where artists came from before they were part of a group and where they went after, if they left. So it's one of the reasons I always talk about who's in the group and where they came from and what they did. And that kind of takes us to the next thing here, the unity. The unity. Power metal, and we got 2 of the guys from Gamma Ray, a guitar player, and I think the drummer. I think those are the 2 guys forming this group here. I don't know if the other guys, because there's 5 guys in the band, whether or not they also came from somewhere, but the sticker on the front promoted it with those 2 guys from Gamma Ray, and I like Gamma Ray. And I'd heard of this group, and I recognized the logo, so I thought it was about time, give it a chance, since I'm in that power metal vibe, and I've been picking up a lot of that sort of stuff, branching out and seeing what other things there are for me to explore. Having been a fan of the band Sanctuary, I found a Warrell Dane solo album. A lot of people, maybe more people, know Warrell Dane from the band Nevermore with Jeff Loomis, but I know him from Sanctuary, and I really like that band. So this was kind of a cool find, and it's in a hardback cover book style thing, and it's got a really nice built-in book in the middle of this, and then the CD in it, so making it a little bit more than just a digipack style thing, and I like that. If you're gonna make it the digipack, then give it some very, hard cover style thing with a thicker spine and everything. Don't just make it the flimsy cardboard. And outside of all of the sort of stuff that I had been picking up, I found a Mitch Ryder album, Naked But Not Dead, 1979 release. Mitch Ryder coming from the Detroit Wheels, the late 60s rock group. And then Detroit Wheels themselves, that band splintered off into a number of other artists. I think they were under the name Detroit Wheels, and then Detroit, and I forget what else, but the Rockets, but a lot of different splinterings from Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels. And I've enjoyed all of those side projects or offshoot bands, but I never bought anything from Mitch Ryder solo. So this is the first thing I'm picking up from him and enjoying that. I picked up a Sur Ungle release, their latest album, 2024 release, a couple weeks back, and enjoyed it when I first heard it, but it didn't click immediately. And then I threw it on a couple weeks later, and I just loved it. So I decided to pick something else up. So I picked up this release here, which is called Frost and Fire. And check this thing out. This is like that Warrell Dane, but it's a double. And we get the 40th anniversary remix, and then we get the original album remastered, and we get a really cool, I guess the book opens this way, booklet that's in here. If we go to the front part of it, you can see that there's write-up and stuff that's in here. But this one here also, hardcover book style. When this came, and I was like, what is in this package? It was so much bigger than I had been expecting. I thought it was going to be a little digipack style thing. when it arrived. I also didn't know it was a 2 CD set that was coming when I ordered it. But I got that. And then progressive rock band, pump rock band, I should really say, like the band Styx. Zon, another band out of Chicago, back down to earth. This one is their second studio album. Astral Projector was their debut, and you might know that. And I did a What Is This episode with Pete Pardo on Sea of Tranquility where we talked about Zon. This is my favorite of the two Zon albums. This is reissued by Rock Candy Records, just came out at the tail end of 2024. That was one that I didn't know was coming out, and then I follow Rock Candy Records on Facebook, and they posted about it, and I immediately went on Amazon and picked it up and was so glad to see that they finally reissued the second album. If you like pump rock, if you like Styx, if you want some more of that, check out Zon, and I highly recommend checking out the second album, Back Down to Earth, first. I think that is their far superior album, even though it's the lesser known of the two albums. Again, staying on that power metal thing, a group called Freefall, Magnus Carlsen's Freefall. That guy's done a whole bunch of different things and is always popping up in different places and backs up a lot of guys. He's a killer guitar player and songwriter, works with the Frontiers Records label, part of Wolfpack and some other different things. But this one, he always gets really great singers to front for him. And so you get cool, well-written, cohesive, single style, music because he writes it and then he brings in these other artists to sing it, sort of like Avantasia and these other types of things. Power metal, but also symphonic. Freefall, if you never checked them out, check them out. I think this is their 4th studio album. And then picked up some vinyl, got this from Anthony, bought a big metal collection in from someone, and I don't know if it's the same person that brought in those Holy Grail items, because those were CDs that I showed you guys last go around with Rat and the Megadeth, but brought in a bunch of cool metal records. Lee Aaron, Call of the Wild, classic. I think this is the 2nd studio album that she did, the Canadian metal queen, right? Most people know her from that. I think that was her 3rd studio album. I really like this one here a lot. The first one, which the first album's cool because it's got a lot of cool Canadian artists joining in, like Rick Santers is on there playing guitar, Rick Emmett from Triumph. But this one here, great album. So picked that up. German metal band Victory, Don't Get Mad, Get Even, with Herman Frank, guitar player from Accept, joining in the fun with these guys. I got a second one on here, Hungry Hearts, 2 albums I haven't been able to find on CD, so picked them up on vinyl. Not a bad deal on the price of these guys either. And then Japanese metal band Bow Wow out of the 70s. Guarantee is the title of this one. There you go, turn it over and you can see these guys. I don't know the year of this. All this stuff is written in Japanese too on the back side of this. I didn't look into it just yet. I haven't spun it. But I've got a couple of their first couple albums that they did only released in Japan. These are Japanese reissues that I have. And then later on, the band would change its name to Vow Wow with a V. Vow Wow, and have a little bit of success, more success in the US, probably around the time that Loudness was getting popular and some of those other Japanese artists, Easy O and stuff like that were happening. Bow Wow became Vow Wow and had some success, but this is what they started as. And this has got to be 3rd or 4th album in, somewhere in that time frame, because I do have their first 2 albums, and I do not believe this is part of that, unless, of course, just different album cover than what I've got. But I have to look into it and see. But I know this is one I do not own because of the title that's on it. So looking forward to checking that out. Obviously, with everything that I got here, 36 different items, lots and lots of stuff, still in the middle of enjoying it all, and will continue to do so. And I love being able to just wake up, have music, listen to it. When I want something new, it's right in front of me. And then this kind of stuff just continues to create different offshoots and things that I will continue to search out. And who knows what you guys will see next week and the next new episode of New Music Finds, which I post every Wednesday. So certainly do check back for that. All right, everyone, take care, have a good one, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.